Hello, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm wondering if any of you have a toning circle or a magic circle kicking around your house that you don't really quite know what to do with. I thought we'd use that today to add a little bit of a different dimension to our workout this morning. So grab your toning circle if you have one, and let's get going. We're going to start with our legs actually inside the circle. So carefully bring yourself inside, just having the toning circle just above the knee joint on your thigh. Okay, this will bring your feet into a slightly wider stance than normal. Okay, so we'll be slightly wider than hip width apart. And I want you to push those thighs out into that toning circle. So we've got a good connection here. Lengthening up, energy through the legs, equal weight through the feet. Bringing pelvis to neutral, ribs sitting nicely on top, and length through to the crown of the head. And this morning today we will start with our squat. So just finding that squat and then drawing yourself back up. If you feel like I just did, that the toning circle's in slightly the wrong place, then adjust it. And we go again, finding that squat. Pushing those knees wide into the circle the whole time. We keep neutral spine as we come into that squat. So really think about hinging at the hip, bending the knees and the ankles, and then drawing yourself back up. We can add in a little arm reach there if you want to. Good. Breathing into that squat, breathing out, push the floor away, getting those legs working, finding the outside of those thighs now, up and round into the glutes a little bit more with that resistance on the circle. Okay, so we're pushing the knees out into that circle the whole time. Good. 3 more here. And then on this last one, you're going to just hold that there and then just pulse out slightly on that circle. It's a subtle movement. Okay, for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Push the floor away. Well done. Just working the circle down now to above the ankle. And again, taking the legs wide so that you can, I'll turn to face the camera a little more, having the legs wide, so pushing into that circle once again, lengthening up to as neutral a position as you can here. I want you to shift all of your weight onto one foot and try to balance, okay? And then we'll shift all of our weight through and onto the other foot and just try to balance, take one foot away from the floor. So we're just finding this little shift from foot to foot, grounding, feeling that connection of the foot to the floor, keeping the outside of the legs active and working, finding a little bit of centering in and up through the abdominals to help with our balance and to keep the spine as neutral as we can here as we just shift from side to side. On this next one, if you can, and feel free to hold on to something around your room if you need to, we're going to balance here and just take that free leg forward slightly and back. So just turning that circle around very slightly, forward with the leg and back. Yeah, hands on hips or hold on to something if you want to. Last one here, forward and back. Place that foot back down. Shift the weight all the way through onto the other side and we do the same. You come into that balance and then we just bring that free leg forward and back, still pushing into the circle. 2 more, forward and back. And last one, forward and back. Well done. Reground the feet. Taking hold of the circle and just stepping out now. Okay, and we'll bring that circle to the inside now of the ankle, just above the ankle joint itself. Okay, and we're going to have tension on that circle. So the legs are drawing in. We're still finding neutral alignment. So bringing the pelvis to neutral, ribs sitting nicely on top, crown of the head reaching up towards the ceiling. Again, we're going to shift the weight onto one foot and just lift the leg. Okay, if you're okay to balance here, I want you to squeeze the circle and release. For 4 more, and 3, and 2. Good. Think knee to knee here, and 1. Keep that squeeze. Place the foot back down. Shift the weight through, and then we come on to the other side. So we go for 5 and 4. Think knee to knee. 3. Strong through that standing leg. 2 and 1. Keep that squeeze, place the foot back down. 1 more on each side here. 5 little pulses, knee to knee, strong through that standing leg. 4 and 3, little bit of center. 2 and 1. Place the foot down, shift it through. Last one on this side for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Reground those feet. Just keep the feet a little bit wider than your hips. Tension on that toning circle, lengthening up. We're just going to roll the spine down to warm up into the back. So finding that dip and hollow, nice centering through, tucking the chin here, and just peeling the spine forward bone by bone, all the way through to as far as feels comfortable for you. So whether that's full flexion all the way down towards the floor, or you don't go quite so far, that's equally fine. Okay, we bring the pelvis back to neutral. We restack that spine all the way back up. And we'll do one more from here, just nodding the chin and peeling that spine forward, bone by bone. Keep this lovely lift and connection up. Try not to let the hips move until you've worked through your whole spine. And then we flex the hips and we travel, walk forward and round. Take a breath here. And as you breathe out, find that centering. Keep that connection in the thighs, squeezing onto that toning circle as you bring the pelvis back to neutral and restack the spine all the way back up. Carefully remove the circle from between your legs, and we will come to sit, okay, on the floor or on a mat around you. Okay, so if you're comfortable with a straight leg and you can find neutral spine here, yeah, so we want to be as upright as we can, not here, yeah, then go for that. If that feels too much, then I want you to bring the soles of your feet together and just have a long frog position. Okay, we're going to take the toning circle between the heels of your hands, okay? And we're going to start a little pulse through. I've got slightly soft elbows, okay? So I'm not really straight arms, slight softness in the elbows. And I'm going to really lengthen up through my spine. I'm going to be as neutral as I can here as I start to just pulse the circle between the heels of my hands. Okay, and then we're starting to just lift the arms up. So we'll pulse as we take the arms up and overhead, keeping that neutral spine, and then we'll pulse as we bring those arms back down and in front. Good. And we'll do that twice more, just pulsing in. Good. As we slowly raise the arms and then pulse in as you lift the arms, or bring the arms down, lift them down, kind of. Okay, I'll do one with straight legs for anyone that's chosen that option. Just pulsing up. And then down. So from here, we connect that circle in front of the chest, slightly soft elbows still, lengthening up through the crown of the head. We're as neutral as we can be through the spine. And I want you to just rotate, keeping that toning circle directly in front of your chest. Little squeeze there, release, come back to center. Breathing out, we go the other way. Rotate. Circle stays in front of your chest. Little squeeze, release, and return. Yeah, you can do the same thing if you're in long frog. We find that rotation and we squeeze and release and come back. And then we go the other way. Rotate just through the rib cage. Squeeze, release, and return. Last one to each side here. Rotate, pulse, release, return. Last one. Rotate, pulse, release, and return. All right. I'm just going to turn to face you now. So staying in this long frog position, I want you to take the toning circle out at arm's length, okay, to one side. And again, you're just going to have the palm of your hand resting on that toning circle. The other arm is going to float up and round. Palm comes in towards the midline of the body, and then we lift up here, lifting those ribs away from the hips as we bend the elbow for the arm that's on the toning circle, and we draw down into that side reach. All right, we're then going to straighten that arm up, bring the spine back to neutral, and float the arm back down. All right, we'll do that twice more on this side, floating the arm up and round. Lift now up towards the ceiling, push down on that toning circle. You bend that supporting arm a little bit to give you space to move into that side flexion. And then as you restack the spine, you feed that arm back long that's on the toning circle and float the arm back down by your side. We'll do that one more time. Floating the arm up and round. As we breathe out, we come into that side flexion, lifting up and over. Sit bones stay nicely connected to the floor here. And then we lift up and we float the arm down. Take hold of this toning circle in that hand, sweep it up. Bring the other arm up. Take it into the other hand, and we bring it down by our side to do the same on the other side. All right, so we breathe in, the arm floats up, palm in towards the midline of the body. Breathing out, lift up and round. You can bend that supporting arm just to get that extra bit of reach and side flexion. And then we lift up and we straighten that arm and we float it back down. And we do two more just like that. The arm floats up and round. Find that side flexion. Good. And then we lift up and round. And we'll take one last one here, okay? Floating that arm up and round, finding that reach, that side flexion of the spine. Good. And then we restack and float the arm all the way back down. Well done, guys. From here, we're going to come round onto all fours, okay? And I want you to have the toning circle underneath your chest. So we find knees below hips, hands below shoulders, okay? And the pad of the toning circle is just tucked underneath your chest, quite lightly positioned there, okay, for now. So hands are shoulder width apart, knees are hip width apart. Neutral through your spine, okay, so make sure the ribs are lining through to the pelvis nicely. And we'll start with a little tricep dip today. So we're going to bend the elbows back towards the knees and just squeeze that toning circle under your chest towards the floor. And then you're going to straighten those arms back up. All right, so we keep a neutral spine here. Flex the hips, we travel down towards the floor, and then we straighten it back up. So trying to keep as neutral as you can, just finding flexion in the hip, lowering those elbows towards the floor, and then coming back up. All right, so from here, she says, feeling like the circle's in a slightly different position from how it normally is. So adjust the circle if you need to, and then we take one leg out behind us, all right, into our tabletop. Okay, now you can keep that foot touching the floor if that feels better for you, or we can lift it just to hip height, so not too high. And we'll take the same thing here. We'll bend the elbows and we'll try and find a little tricep dip. As we come down, the leg will lift up if you've got that leg lifted. We'll push through to neutral, lower the leg, and draw it back in and underneath. And then we'll change sides. So the other leg goes out behind you. Lift it if you want to, and we add in that little tricep dip. Circles there to help you and support you a little bit. Find that centering, lower the leg down and slide it in. One more on each side, just like that. Adding the leg in and the tricep dip if you want to. If not, stick with the first option, okay? You never have to take in the progression if you don't want to. All right, last one coming up. Lift that leg and then take the tricep dip if that feels okay. And then lengthening those arms back up. Lower the leg down and slide it in. All right, just sitting back, bottom to heels. Take the circle, reach it long, and then just take a little shoulder stretch here. So I'm going to take my knees a little bit wider than my hips, and I'm just going to allow my chest to sink down and take a little shoulder stretch here. If this feels too much for you, then just have your hands on the floor. You don't have to take this stretch on your toning circle. All right, and just breathe here. Breathing out and into that little stretch. And then again, take a breath in. And breathing out. All right, carefully walk your hands towards your knees. And we come onto our side from here. So I want you to help. This is a bit of a tricky one, getting ourselves into this position. So hold the toning circle at one end of your mat, all right? And hook your bottom leg inside that circle, making sure that the circle is above the ankle joint, okay? So you're not on the bone. You're then going to bring yourself down onto your side, bring the other leg on top of that circle, and then I just wiggle myself into alignment. So my legs are in line with my spine here. I'm going to reach the arm up the mat. So you can always pop a head cushion in between your head and your arm here if you want to. Okay, we support ourselves with this top hand, all right, in this position. Otherwise, you're going to be very wobbly. So use this hand as your anchor, okay, and hold yourself in this nice neutral position, hip over hip, shoulder over shoulder, little bit of lift in the waist, all right, and we're using this hand. This hand is active, all right. From here, breathe out. I want you to lift that top leg up and away from the circle. Breathe in to bring it down and just push down on that circle. All right, breathing out to lift. Breathing in to lower and press inner thighs. Good. 3 more like that. Lift and lower and press. And lift and lower and press. Good. Lift and lower and press. Lovely. Just leave that leg slightly active, okay? The top leg resting on the top of the circle. And you're going to now lift and lower that bottom leg. Breathing out to lift, knee to knee. Try and get that foot to the top pad of the circle and then lower it down. Breathing out, lift, into lower. Good. Breathing out, lift, and into lower. 2 more here. Lift and lower and lift and lower. Pause there. Bottom foot rests back in that toning circle. Top leg's just going to hover off that top pad. And from here, I want you to just bring that leg forward and circle it and see if you can tap the floor. Okay, now as you do that, I want you to rotate this thigh bone up towards the ceiling slightly. All right, and then we're going to lift that leg and circle it behind the toning circle. All right, and at this point, that knee is going to rotate slightly towards the floor. So we're trying to keep the pelvis as still as we can as we circle the leg forward and back, just dusting round that circle. And we allow a little bit of rotation to happen here in the hip joint. So your knee will rotate towards the floor as the leg goes behind you and towards the ceiling as the leg comes in front. Hips stay completely still. We're still a little bit lifted and connected in the waist and into our center. Last one here, guys. Just dusting it round. Feel free to pause and do more repetitions if you want to, all right? That's your choice. We're going to leave it there for now, all right? Bring that top leg back on top. And then just actually take it off and bring yourself up onto your side. We're going to come straight round onto the other side to do the same, all right? So bring yourself round. Hold the toning circle at one end if you're mat and take your bottom leg inside, all right? That bottom leg wants to have the circle just above the ankle joint. The other leg comes on top and you bring yourself down into that side lying position, and I just lift my hips to bring myself in a nice alignment. So my legs are in line with my spine. I reach that bottom arm up and away, bringing my head onto my arm, maybe putting a head cushion in there if you have one. Okay, and so we're shoulder over shoulder, we're hip over hip. We're a little bit lifted in the waist, all right, centered. This is our anchor point. Yes, have that arm nicely connected to the floor in front of you. All right, and from here, we start to lift and lower and press. All right, breathing out to lift, breathe in to lower and press. Good. Breathing out, lift, breathe in, lower and press down. Good. Think knee to knee. 2 more here. Lift, lower and press. And last one, lift and lower and press down. Now keep that top leg active and slightly pushing on the circle as we lift the bottom leg up to the top of the circle and release it back down. Breathing out to lift and in to lower. Out to lift and in to lower. Good. 3 more here. Lift and lower. And 2, think knee to knee and lower. Last one, spine stays still and lower it down. We take those little semicircles now, top leg lifts up. We bring that leg forward, we just tap the floor if it goes there. Doesn't matter if you don't tap the floor, by the way, okay? If you've got good range of movement in your hips, you might be able to achieve that. If you haven't, it might not. You might get halfway down the circle and that be enough. So It doesn't matter, yeah? Just work with what you've got. Try and keep as still and as neutral as you can. Remember that thigh bone wants to rotate slightly, so as the leg comes forward, the knee will travel around and up towards the ceiling slightly. And as the leg lifts up and behind you, that knee will rotate towards the floor very slightly. All right. Bring that leg in, just bend it in towards you. A little rub if you're feeling any tension coming into there. And we're going to come round onto our tummies from here. So I'm going to take a little jaunty angle. I want your feet to be as wide or a bit wider than your hips. And we're going to do a variation of our Cobra, those of you that are familiar with the Pilates routine. All right, so I'm going to have my arms reaching out in front of me and just pressing on the top of the toning circle. Okay, my legs are turned out very slightly. I'm going to allow my head to just drop in between my arms and my forehead to rest on the mat. So I'm in a very flexed shoulder position, slightly extended into my upper back already before I go here. So if that doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can hold the toning circle on either side, okay? And that might feel like a better shoulder position for you to work in. Or indeed, you can just have the hands on the bottom of the toning circle, yes, and see if that works better for you, all right? So adjust the arm position, all right? And if you don't like it at all, you can go back to having your arms in that goalpost position for your Cobra. All right, so we're going to try and extend the spine here. Find your centering, make sure you're neutral. And as you breathe out, we're going to bring the back of the head up between the arms and then find a little bit of extension just into the upper back. And then I'm going to reach the arms away and lower the upper body down. We go again, breathing out. Find that little extension through head, neck, upper back. And then breathing in, melt the spine down. And release. And we'll go one more here. Breathing out, extend up. Good, maybe push down on that circle, lift a little higher. Don't take it into the lower back though, okay? We don't want to take any compression into that lumbar spine. That felt quite good. We'll do one for luck, okay? Drawing that little line with your nose, leading with the crown of the head and just finding a little bit of extension into the upper back. Lift there. And then reach it all the way. Lengthening, lengthening, lengthening back down to the floor. Okay, carefully release your hands from that circle. Place the circle down. And we'll push back into a rest position from here. So feet together, knees can stay wide. And just stretch back. Rounding the spine, finding a little flexion here. Shimmying through the hips one way and then the other. And then bringing yourself round. We're going to finish off on our backs in our relaxation position. Okay, toning circle is coming between the thighs, just above the knee joints. All right, so toning circle between the thighs, just above the knees. All right, feet hip width apart, ideally, so just don't have them too wide. Okay, neutral spine. Maybe take a couple of pelvic tilts here to check that we're in a nice alignment. All right, line the ribs through to the hips, arms just resting by your side. Knees can fall out to the side a little bit before we set off. Okay, so you've not got any tension on that toning circle for now. Check your alignments. Yes, pubic bone and hip bones in a nice alignment here. And then as you breathe out, you're going to lift those hips straight up into your bridge and we'll squeeze the knees back in line with the hips and the ankles. All right, breathing in at the top there and breathing out. You're going to melt the spine down bone by bone. All the way back down to neutral. The knees can fall out to the side and we go again. All right, take a breath in here. Breathing out, bridge up and squeeze the knees. Breathe in, hold. Breathing out, melt the spine back down, bone by bone, and release tension onto that circle. Breathe in here. Breathing out, squeeze and bridge. Breathe in, hold. Breathing out, melt that spine back down, bone by bone. Releasing tension on the circle once you're back into neutral. Take a breath in. Breathing out, squeeze and bridge. And then melt the spine back down when you're ready. Let's do one more here, guys. Okay, bridge up. Squeeze that toning circle. Pause here. Can we pulse the circle at the top there for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hips stay nice and high. Keep that connection. And now bring the spine down bone by bone, all the way back through to neutral. Leave the toning circle between your knees, but bring the inner edges of your feet together. All right, just check you haven't arched your lower back away there. So keeping neutral through the pelvis and spine. We'll take our arms wide, palms up towards the ceiling. Okay, now squeeze that toning circle just a little bit between the knees, and we're going to find our hip roll here. So as you breathe out, we're going to roll that pelvis over to one side, keeping that toning circle between the knees, keeping that bottom knee pushing up towards the top knee. Okay, breathe in and roll it back to center, breathing out and take it the other way. Find your hip roll. Good. Breathing into center. And then release the tension on that circle. And then we go again. Find that nice connection, inner thighs. Find your centering here. Keep the feet together. They will stack one on top of the other as you find that hip roll. Keep squeezing. Good. Draw it back to center. Take it the other side. Keep that inner thigh connection as you rotate the spine. Squeeze. And then draw it back. Lovely. And release. Check your alignment here. I felt like I was drifting slightly out of neutral. So just find that connection, realign the spine, and we'll go one more here. All right, find that connection onto the toning circle. Take your pelvis over to one side. Good. Keep that connection to toning circle. Roll back to neutral, and then we go the other way. Hip roll. Good. And return. Well done, guys. Release the tension on that circle. Put the circle down to one side and just hug your knees in towards you. Have a little rock from side to side here. Circle the knees around one way and then the other. And then when you're ready, just really carefully bring yourselves round to seated. And that is us done for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a lovely day, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you again very soon. Remember, if you like it, do tick like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.